Hi guys, so this is the first lesson in chapter 5. And in chapter 5 we're going to be talking all about linear functions or linear equations. And in this first lesson we're going to talk about rate of change, which is also known as slope. Rate of change is slope. The variable that you will see for the rate of change or the slope is m. I know it sounds funny that it's m. I wasn't involved in the choosing of it, but that is the letter that we use for slope. And you're going to be able to identify the rate of change using all of these forms here. These are all connected. From a table, you can pull out ordered pairs. Ordered pairs, you can make a graph. From a graph, we can find the word problem, or word problem go to the graph. All of these things from the equation to the table. So you should be able to find the rate of change for all of these. Now, when you're writing these in your notes, you do not have to write them in a circle. You can just list them out. But we're going to go through each one of these ways on how to find the rate of change. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so rate of change. All of these things listed here are the ways to find the rate of change. The first two that are written down, these are going to be ways that you're going to find the rate of change using ordered pairs, or using, why is it doing that now? Ordered pairs or a table. Sorry, I'm holding my computer up and it's hard to write at the same time. Ordered pairs or a table. Okay. Vertical change over horizontal change and rise over run. So notice these things are all ratios. They're all fractions that you're going to be writing. A number over another number. Vertical change over horizontal change, or rise over run. Rise means your vertical change, your up and down, compared to your left to right. It doesn't like me writing like that. There we go. And that one's supposed to be like that. Okay, and these will be used for your graph. Okay, so let's look at some examples. Rate of change from a table. So copy this table down. You're writing time, writing distance, and you're writing each one down. Now we did this in the last section. You actually found the rate of change as you're looking and you're going down your y's, or your dependent variable. You're figuring out the change, and then you're going down your x's to figure out the change. So here you want to make sure that your x's are going by ones. You're going to use the change in the distance over the change in time. And the reason where I got distance and time from, those are in my table. Your distance is your y, which is also your dependent variable, and time is your independent variable. So in the four formulas that you just wrote down, that's where I'm getting that from. I'm just using their specific names. Okay, so then I find the distance between here and here, and so on. And I plug it into my formula, and you'll end up getting 260 feet per minute, because our time is going up by ones. Oops, I almost put them by ones here. And these are all going up by 260. Okay, so you're just making sure the x goes by 1. All right, so that's from a table. This is in your textbook, that's why that page number is written. Okay, so now slope from points. I'm going to give you the formula. This is in our textbook. Slope is the rise over run. Write down this formula. Just write down what I'm putting a box around. Okay, so you're going to subtract your y values, and then you're going to subtract your x values, and the y goes on top over the x, which is your dependent over your independent variable. Now when you subtract them, this little 2 and this little 1 is telling you subtract the second one minus the first one. You don't need to do that. Okay, so let's look at an example. We're given these 2 points. Write down, you don't need to write down all this other stuff. Just write down the 2 points that I'm giving you here. Write these 2 points down. Now, a way that Ms. Kumar has found to teach it, which is fine, we're going to do that way as well. It doesn't matter. I also just do label your x and your y so you don't get them confused. This one's your x, this one's your y, this one's your x, and this one's your y. And we're going to subtract our x's. Now, Ms. Kumar teaches it this way. She has the students write it up and down, and then she has them circle the y values so that they remember to write the y values first. I'm okay if you don't do this. However, you start getting them wrong, you might want to try this method. The y values must go on top. Now, as long as you subtract in the same way, you'll get the same answer. So if I do 0 minus negative 2, actually, sorry, we should write the formula first. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Then we're going to plug it in. 0 minus negative 2. Then we're going to write our y values. Oh, grab a different color. Negative 1 minus 3. Remember, this means plus. 0 plus 2 is 2. Negative 1 minus 3 is negative 4. I should simplify that. You should not leave that fraction. And you can simplify it to a negative a half. Please realize that it does not matter where your fraction, where your negative sign is. That negative a half, with the negative right in the middle, is the same thing as negative 1 over 2, is the same thing as 1 over negative 2. Hopefully you're listening to me so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so those all are equal to each other. It does not matter where you put the negative as long as it's in one part of the fraction. All right, so let's try one. You know what? I have another problem to do. Why don't we do one more with points first? Try this one first. Okay, write those two down. You should pause me, see how you do, and if you and see if you get it right. Okay, so first, we're going to write it. If you want, you could do it Ms. Kumar's way. Write them up and down. Then you're going to circle your y values. So you remember to do your y values first. Write your formula. Plug it in. You should get your slope, your m, is negative 4/3. Make sure you keep it as a fraction. We do not write slope as anything other than a fraction. No mixed numbers, no decimals. So they're always a fraction, a number over a number. Okay, hopefully you got that right and you did well. We're going to practice more in class. Let's move on to number 3, where I'm going to give you a graph. And when you have a graph, you're going to do your rise over your run. And write down these 3 values. You're going to select 2 whole number points. You're going to move from the left to the right as you do it, and you're going to move the vertical, your up and down first, and then your horizontal, which is your left to right next. Okay, so what is the slope of each line in parts A and part B? Okay, so here's our graph. You're going to select 2 ordered pairs that you know. This one, we know. I can name that point right there. That's negative 3, 1. And this point I can name. You don't want to pick ordered pairs that are in the middle. Okay, so then you're going to count. The leftmost point is over here at negative 3, 1. And you're going to count your rise to get to the other point. You're going to go up 2. I went up 2. This doesn't want to let me write that. And then I go to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks. So my slope is 5. My handwriting is amazing right now today. Okay, so if I do that, I went up 2 and I went over 5. Then I write my slope. You write your slope is 2 over 5. Your rise over your run. Okay, make sure that your intervals are going by 1. That on your graph you see that it's going by 1s. All right, so let's look at another one. Again, you have 2 points. This point and this point. Okay, to count, we would go down 2 and over 6. Again, I can trace that for you. Down 2. Oh, if it'll let me. It's kind of having issues with that. Let's see. Down 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My pen is having issues, so let's see if I can do it with my mouse. 2. And I went over 6. So then you write that as a fraction. 2 over 6. Sorry, negative 2, because we went down 2. Down 2. That was a great negative. over 6, and we reduce it to negative 1/3. Okay, so this is a positive slope from left to right. You're going up, and part B is a negative slope because you're falling. All right, let's see what else. Okay, finding slopes of horizontal and vertical lines. So here is a horizontal line. We have the two numbers. We do the same thing. You could plug it into write your two numbers. You could plug it into your formula. And then you're going to simplify. Now when you simplify that, 2 minus 2 on the top, let's see if it lets me write. Like my pen here. 2 minus 2 on the top is 0. It's not letting me write. Write with my mouse. Over, and when you do negative 3 minus 2, you get negative 5. Okay, so if you have a 0 on the top in a fraction, this is something you should have learned when you did fractions a long time ago, that it actually equals 0. Your slope will be 0. Your rise is 0. When you have a vertical line, we have our 2 points. We write them like that. We plug it into our formula, and we get this. When you simplify this, on the top, you end up getting, let's see, I'll try writing with my mouse again. So equals, 1 minus negative 2 is 3. And then on the bottom, negative 2 plus 2 is 0. When you have 0 on the bottom in a fraction, that's undefined. It doesn't work. If you actually try dividing on a calculator, it'll say error. So when your run is 0, your m is undefined, and we actually write the word undefined. There is not a slope that's defined for it. Okay, so this is my hardest problem and my last problem of the video. It's been a long video. Find the point given slope. Find the value of x when the line. Find the value of x when the line goes through 2, 4, and x8 and has a slope of negative 2. So this is a challenge one. This one is hard. So what you're going to do here, first thing you're going to do is write your formula. Then you're going to plug in what you know. Okay, we know that our 4 and our 8 are our y's, our 2 and our x are our x's, and we know that it equals negative 2. Okay, so now you can just write this like this, and then you have proportions, and you could do your cross products. Actually, you know what, I'm going to simplify my top right first. Simplify your top right first, so you get that. 4 minus 8 is negative 4. Now I'm going to make it into a proportion, and I can solve my cross products. I'll get negative 4 equals, and then I have negative 2 times 2 minus x. Here we go. When you distribute that, and then you solve, you'll get that x equals 0. And that's a challenge one. We'll work on more of those tomorrow. And that's it. So hopefully you kind of understand a little bit, but this definitely is going to be the beginning to a difficult chapter. But I know you can do it. Have a good one.